on your line, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Kelly. We call the meeting to order for Intergovernmental Affairs and Strategic Priorities on March 4th. Welcome, everybody. We call the meeting to order. We have Councillor Drong online, so we'll call the meeting to order. Any declarations of conflict of interest? See none. Bob, you okay? Councillor Drong, you okay for the conflict? Thank you.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay, approval of the agenda. Moved by Councillor Rivard, second by...
Yeah, just like to make a recommendation.
Yeah.
The advisory board, this committee here can make a recommendation regarding that advisory board.
Yeah, that's what, that's the first thing on the discussions.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
No, I'm talking to that one that meets, one that chairs.
CAC?
Yeah, put that on the agenda. No,
Greg?
What are we, sorry, I didn't hear that.
Mitchell likes to put the CAC under, will that be under new business, right? Or what is?
Yes, so I'm sorry, I'm trying to see what's going on.
Yeah, talking about what about the CAC?
I just like to make a recommendation.
He wants to discuss something for CAC.
Council Advisory Committee?
Yes.
Okay, and so you're going to want them to look at changing their committee?
Well, yeah, it's something we want to discuss, yeah.
That should come at a council meeting, which is this, shouldn't it? Shouldn't
No, we
it be
made recommendations before from this committee to that committee.
But this committee would recommend appointments for instance, we're doing the committee appointments for youth and for the
Advisory, or the...
housing one. So they would recommend based upon their responsibility.
Yeah, I'd like to make a recommendation regarding that committee. Want to discuss it, guys.
That would go under new business.
Under new business, okay. We got approval of the agenda, and then approval of the minutes. Councillor Trio, and second by Councillor Rivard. Business arising, and that's the CAC. Are you in favor of that, Councillor Drong?
Yeah, go ahead.
Councillor Rivard? I don't know what it's about either, so.
Whatever, yeah.
Okay, moved by Councillor Trio, that we've had CAC on that. Under new business. Okay, reports. Advisory boards. We have the two underneath us. One is the Youth Retention, or the Youth Advisory Committee, and the other is Affordable Housing.
So just a quick update, we have, we posted online. We have also, will be an ad on Saturday in the papers. To date, we have about 10 or so applicants so far. And we expect over the next week or so, we'll obviously garner some more, and they'll come back for your information.
Is that for both committees?
Yes.
So what's the longevity of these committees?
This will be for the remaining 2 years, Councilman.
Okay, I have...
For 2 years.
No. I thought it was a 6-month period.
No, what we sort of suggested the last time is that if they go, they have
6 months.
they meet every quarterly with us with a report. Am I correct on that? I think we said that, Chantal. But how many people are we looking for each group?
I believe it's 4 for the youth, and no, sorry, 5 for the youth. Go ahead, Chantal.
5 for affordable housing, and I believe 4 for the youth.
Okay. Because, oh yeah.
Okay, just go ahead, you finish.
No, I was just going to say, because when I was chair, I think you were on our, before 2018, Councillor Twill, we only had a couple people on there. The two were Zach, we had the young McDonald girl and the young Doherty girl, and then we had Zach Murphy and Alex Ewan. But anyway, the other two got other positions or jobs. So, but the two of them just ran with this youth retention, was called back in the day. And we did the report, and I'm sort of like Councillor Twill to a certain extent, is that what are they supposed to bring to the table?
So again, this was already at the committee, and you wanted to have a chance to go back, read relook at what they've done, what they may wish to do, and as you indicated, report back every 6 months, every 3 months for an update. And if there's any special projects or initiatives that we want done either through them or through us, we would have that chance to have that discussion.
So they just bring back their recommendations to us.
Again,
Am I right or wrong? I don't know.
If it's a standing committee, they would continue to operate as every other committee does, month after month after month. If there's a special initiative that you want done, obviously that is another discussion, but they have that latitude to do studies or to do whatever else they may wish to bring forward.
But I'm still reflecting back to Peter in 2017 or 2016 when they did that report. We all had a copy of it.
So
And the province adopted it, and we adopted it. So their role was basically done. And in that report, with the youth advisory, was, part of it was housing, how they like to live downtown and all that, and affordable housing. But are we going off the rails here by jumping on this affordable housing thing? Like, what is our role as a city?
Well, I think you raise a good point. And the thing that concerns me is creating false expectations. It's great to say we're gonna have all these committees, right? And then people come in with good intentions, wanna make a contribution, and I respect that. But at the end of the day, we, from our, as a municipal government, we, in our jurisdiction, are responsible for zoning and development bylaw, the official plan. We established affordable housing policy, which includes tax incentives, and it's a pretty good policy. But we are not in the bricks and mortar game. We're not in the building of these facilities which are needed. That's at the provincial and federal level. And the concern I have, I always had this concern, is creating false expectations, because I didn't tell the planning department what to do, make recommendations for planning. I mean, they've already got a planning board, staff bring recommendations to planning board, city council. That's the only concern I have. Is it's great to say on the face that we're going to put people on these committees, and they're going to come in and say, okay, well, we want this, we want that. We have to understand what's realistic, what's reasonable, and what's not. And I for the life of me, I don't know why we create these false expectations. I have no idea why we do that.
So just to be clear, Mr. Chair, the committee already debated this and gave us instruction. We have never advertised. We're bringing back those that are interested. If you wish to change it afterward, but you've already made it clear where you want to go, and those notes are there for you to have. But we just keep rehashing and rehashing. After you guys told us to go, we've done what you asked us to do. Now it looks like we may not want to go ahead.
No, we're just basically asking the questions of what their role is.
Okay.
You know,
It's all here.
I know.
Yeah. Well,
Okay, Greg?
Yeah,
Sorry.
so I want to focus on kind of moving forward. So you're right, council did give direction to have these two committees. So my focus will be on moving forward. So the study that was done by the Youth Advisory Group, for instance, back in 2017, they had provided a report. One of the first things that I would have the new committee do is take that report, review it, and update it.
Refresh it, yeah.
Right. For the affordable housing group, they had no structure in the past. I think that's partially our fault for not giving direction. If there is again, there will be a new group put in place. I see their role as reviewing, other jurisdictions, other municipalities, whatever it may be, to find best practices in dealing with certain things and bringing ideas to council to say, as opposed to say this is right, dictating or going to the media and saying there's problems. Maybe they can do something that staff doesn't have the time to do, which is looking at best practices across Canada, North America, wherever it may be, and coming up with new, maybe fresh ideas for the city that we can ponder as a council. And so that's where I see their roles.
And the only thing is that just keep in mind that housing in this province is the responsibility of the province. Other than we can maybe give them some information that they may wish or ideas to explore, but ultimately it falls under their jurisdiction.
Yeah, but again, just follow up, Chair.
Yes,
So,
go ahead.
Again, you're right, Peter, thank you. But again, municipalities do play a role in some way, and I guess as long as the committee has clear direction as to say, here's the jurisdiction of the province, and any province across the country, and here is what the jurisdiction is of, or the responsibilities of a municipality. Your job is to put your municipality hat on and figure out ways, best practices again, of what cities, towns, whatever may be doing across Canada to help deal with these things, as we put a policy in place
Correct.
for the incentives for building.
Yeah.
So those are the type of things that we need fresh ideas,
Yeah.
and our staff doesn't have the time to be digging up the best practices, so maybe this is a good role.
Okay. Councillor Trio, follow up and then we'll.
I can understand that to a certain degree, although I think our staff in the planning department is as contemporary as possibly can be. Staff, Alex Forbes has gone out and he's recruited people like Hope Parham, for example, to go out and do research to update the zoning and development bylaw to make sure that all our bylaws and our zoning and development and official plan is as current as it possibly can be. So that is an ongoing work in progress, I would call it. Work in progress that continues on an annual basis. Peter, you can correct me if I'm wrong, 365 days a year, every year. So I think that work is ongoing, work in progress, good way to describe it. So I don't think there's a discrepancy or any deficiencies from that perspective, Peter. Please correct me again if I'm wrong.
You're right.
So those, I mean, who best knows what's happening in the planning world and the planning department? They're the professionals. So and if need be, I mean, they let me recruit people to help them with like the Hope Parhams and other professional planners to work on in specific areas.
STRs, for instance.
Pardon me?
STRs, for instance.
Yeah. So that is an avenue that has been pursued here in the last number of years. And how many times have they come to council, housekeeping matters, and making recommendations, and we vote lots of times. Peter, they'll come in with a package, right? Some alterations to the zoning and development bylaw. So that's ongoing all the time. So it's not like we're sitting there dormant. Professionals are actually doing their job, and they have researchers and professionals working with our paid staff in the planning department. So I don't see any deficiencies or discrepancy there. I don't anyway. Maybe I'm wrong.
Okay, what?
So no, but the point I'm trying to make, gentlemen, is that sometimes, and I talk to people in the community, and they're saying, like, well, what are you doing about affordable housing? And then the onus is on us, okay? And this is where it troubles me, because you got to go through a big long dissertation, right? You got to go through a big long dissertation and try to explain the whole jurisdictional thing, Peter. So I don't know why we as a council or as a city don't put that information out to the community, because there was a situation that had taken place with our professionals in the fire department.
Yeah.
Went out, right? Did their due diligence, tried to work with the property owner. I mean, year after year after year, did everything humanly possible, and did it with sensitivity, did it with respect, and yet we're being criticized. We're being criticized, and I can honestly say, after reading the report or the release from the fire department went the extra mile.
Yeah.
Am I wrong, Peter?
No.
Okay, our professionals, but once again, we are being criticized. And I think, Peter, and as a CAO, as a leader of this corporation, I mean, we've got to get information to the community, right? And we got to get the right, accurate information out to the community as to who's responsible for what, who does what, and the work that we do as a corporation was. Fire department, planning department, police department, whatever the case may be. And it's not that it's not happening, it's just that we're not telling people, we're not telling the constituents that live in this city and pay the taxes. We're not informing them.
Okay, we moved,
So, Kevin, I won't take another minute. So, Peter, again, and what happens is we get caught. We get caught. So people are lining up and criticizing City Hall when instead of being criticized, say, geez, the city did everything humanly possible to help that situation, and yet we're being criticized for a jurisdictional matter that we're not involved with.
Okay, before we
Yes.
can I just add one quick thing?
Sure.
So if Alex Forbes, the manager of planning, is the one who sits on this affordable housing committee as the city representative, I don't understand why the committee would have to report back to us versus if they're talking about affordable housing,
Yeah.
they should be reporting back to planning, and planning should be filtering that information to say, here's what the committee, which we put together, sees as being advantageous to the city of Charlottetown. This is what we're bringing forward to council. Do you know what I mean? Because it's all housing. It's all, it really more depends on Alex. So I would rather see it honestly go through Alex then to the planning board, which consists of resident members, them reviewing it, and then filtering it off to council saying, here's what we think are good ideas for the city.
And that's land use policies or land use elements for that purpose? Is that what you mean, or more broader scope of that?
I think the majority of the issues that are going to be discussed at that committee level, because Alex is there, are going to be more of planning issues versus that of, and that's where Alex can really help kind of, maybe with Mitchell's messages to maybe help direct these folks into what they should be talking about. And there seems to be a real disconnect.
There is.
And who they report to and everything else. And if it doesn't go through planning, then maybe Alex is not the right guy to be sitting in those meetings. Maybe yourself, Peter.
He's already on the provincial board too, so that would make sense.
Get it, but it should go through planning, vetted through the planning board,
Yeah.
as opposed to being vetted through this committee here. That's just my suggestion.
Yeah.
So we can recommend that we change the terms that they report through planning rather than through here, Mr. Chair.
I think it's the best. Then it gets to our planners, and our planners can then review what.
Hello?
That's John, Mr. Chair.
Yes, go ahead.
No, that's John. Hi.
Hi, it's John.
Just hang on 1 second, John, if you can.
Anyways, that's.
Oh, no problem at all. I'll just wait for you guys.
So that's all I want for remarks, is I think it should.
Can you put him on mute, or what do you want to do?
Because Councilor John's on there as well.
Oh, yeah. Okay, Bobby, do you have any comments on that? On these two groups?
Great discussions there. I certainly agree with what Councilor Twill is talking about there, so I appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay, and just as a closing fact, we decided last month that these groups, once they're in place, they're going to report back every 3 months or quarterly, I guess, is what is going to happen. And well, let's go with that right now, because I think, because we already approved that at our last meeting, and I think because they haven't met in over a year, each one of these groups, and a lot of these other groups that we have within the city have met, whether it's virtually or webcam or wherever like that. So if they're just going to sit back and not give a report, well, then it's really going to have to be looked after.
So additional quickly, we are going to recommend to council that the housing advisory reports through planning. Is that what I'm hearing as well?
That's not a problem.
I think that's the best way.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Okay.
That should probably be a motion or recommendation of this committee to council.
All good.
Okay, moved by Greg, second by Councillor Twill.
I agree with that.
That moves to the Planning Advisory Committee
And
for
the thing is,
their recommendations.
In your discussions with Mr. Forbes, Mr. Forbes needs to, from the outside, tell me what we're responsible for, what the provincial government, federal government is responsible for, and to make it quite clear that, it's not about we're going to go out now, we're going to build, say, 100 units.
Yeah, that's right.
So I'm trying to stop this false expectation in the community here, because people in the community are confused.
Okay.
We need a comms team for that.
Yeah. Okay, that was a great discussion. Thank you very much. We're gonna move to, we're gonna make a motion to move to in closed session as per section 119(1) subsection B and D of the PEI Municipal Government Act. Do I have a mover? Councilor Rivard, second by Councilor Twill. Allison?